Boris Johnson, does he have a hope in hell of returning to lead the Conservative Party? The answer is no. So this improbable and promised resurrection, and I do get that word right, I think, this resurrection, not from the grave, but from the political wilderness, of Boris Johnson, the classical scholar turned court jester turned prime minister, now flirts with the idea of a Churchillian return, or so his allies hope. He once compared himself to Cincinnatus, the Roman patrician, who, summoned from his plough, saved the republic and returned thereafter to obscurity. But the comparison was never quite apt. Cincinnatus was called by the people. Johnson, by contrast, is beckoned by WhatsApp messages from Guto, Harry, and late-night strategists with no visible or viable alternative. So dwell for a moment on the myth of Cincinnatus, summoned to rescue Rome, victorious, humble, dutiful. Johnson, by comparison, didn't so much plough a field as plough through bottles of Pinot, policy briefings, and public goodwill. The Latin is there, the humility is not. And Mary Beard waspishly has noted that Cincinnatus was in fact no democrat. He was anti-plebeian, anti-populist, and alarmingly autocratic. The symbolism, whether Johnson understood it or not, was laced with irony. Johnson is not returning to lead the people. He's returning, if at all, to stop Farage and redeem his reputation. In 2019, Boris Johnson stormed the Red Wall with a swagger and a slogan, "Get Brexit done!" And he brought Hartlepool to heel. Labour crumbled. The Tories strutted like they owned the North. And now, according to the Merlin strategy polling, Johnson garners just 12% first-choice support in those very seats. He's outgunned by Farage at 27%, and even Keir Starmer at 24%, who is many things, but charismatic is not one of them. The tragedy is not Johnson's fall, it's that the Red Wall still craves the rebellion he once channeled and never provided. And now they find their tribute not in Johnson, nor Badenoch, nor Jenrick, but in Farage, a man as divisive as he is principled in this populist messaging. Farage's rise has queered the pitch, in that Shakespearean sense, meaning disrupted, unbalanced, or perverted the expected course, or indeed even in the baseball sense. Johnson's comeback is no longer heroic, it's crowded, confused, and even comic. And Farage has stolen his clothes. Johnson's left discarded after Partygate. He now wears the Brexit mantle that Johnson devised. He, Farage, now sneers at net zero. He, Farage, now speaks, however cynically, the language of anti-elitism that Johnson once weaponized with such aplomb. The Conservative Party, meanwhile, flails. Kemi Badenoch flails, cast as the great hope, polling behind the Lib Dems, and Robert Jenrick, bless him, is not even registering with the electorate. Some say, yes, Boris is, after all, the only Tory who can be identified by people in the street, the only Tory whose net favourability exceeds that of Badenoch and Jenrick. He remains, curiously, the only figure who evokes fear in both the Labour HQ and Farage's Reform HQ, but politics is not merely a game of charisma. Johnson is associated with scandal, with hypocrisy, and worst of all, with betrayal of the very voters he won over in 2019. Net migration soared. Levelling up became little more than a PowerPoint slogan, and COVID rules became punchlines. The idea that this man can now lead a humbled party from outside Parliament, defy the scepticism of colleagues, and beat a Farage insurgency already rooted in the soil of northern discontent, the idea stretches even Johnson's optimism and imagination. Cincinnatus returned. He did his duty and vanished, and Johnson returned before he was missed, failed in office, and now seeks, or is being urged, to rise once more. Oh, I want to rise! But his party is no longer Rome. It's scattered. It's a scattered tribe of bewildered heirs or hares, divided between Farage imitation, Cameron nostalgia, and a faint hope that something may turn up. Something will turn up. Let's stain the sofa. The truth is brutal. Boris Johnson is not Messiah, nor, to misquote Life of Brian, is he even a naughty boy. He's a symptom, a lingering shadow, a reminder that charisma without direction and rhetoric without discipline ends in not in glory but in irrelevance. In a stain. Oh. If the Conservative Party wishes to be more than an historical footnote, it must learn that myth is not strategy, and the plough once left cannot always be returned to. Sometimes you plough your furrow, that's it. You're defined by that moment. Boris is defined by what he left behind. A mess! A mess! That's it. That is Boris. There's no time for a clean-up operation years later.